Hello everyone and welcome back to Azok Art University. So today's training is all about creating your first simple pen sketch. No fancy tools required, just your favorite pen and a blank sheet of paper. So let's get straight into the video. Art doesn't have to be complicated. Embrace simplicity as we begin with a basic pen sketch. It's just the perfect way to express your creativity without overthinking. So we are gonna be using subject of the calabash. That is as a result of the polling vote that was done on my WhatsApp class, and the calabash came out as one of the highest votes that we should use for this tutorial, and that is what we are going to use for this tutorial. So due to the roundness of the calabash, we are going to be starting this sketch with a simple circle. Then we add other details to the calabash, like the top, which contains the opening, like a little rectangle shape. Add it and make it come together with your circle to give a kind of calabash sketch. So we are keeping it easy for your first attempt. Outline the basic shapes and don't worry about perfection. This is about enjoying the process and building your confidence. When you are done with your sketch, don't forget to add where the light and the dark shade falls in your sketch. We are using the cross-hatching technique for this sketch. No blending of any sort, just the normal pen cross-hatching shade. So this area of the calabash is going to be my dark cross-hatching shade, and the other parts will be light to the lightest. So I'm going to confidently start my cross-hatching on the dark side. So what I'm doing now is just to layer my strokes one after the other without being in a hurry. The essence of this is to have the ability to make good pen strokes without necessarily having to blend your pen stroke together. Your strokes can come in any direction since it's a cross-hatching technique. And don't worry about making mistakes, as this is going to be your first simple sketch, so you have to embrace your mistake if there is any. So I'll be coming with another pen stroke from another angle to give my cross hatching. So this is what I'm going to be doing all through the sketch, and this is what you should be doing as a beginner to learn how the cross hatching technique works without having to blend your pen stroke together. So confidently you should be able to know how to do this on your own with enough consistent practice. So the more you add your pen stroke, the more layer it gives you. So this is my first layer for my cross hatching for the dark shade, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Just play around with the cross hatching and see what you can come up with. So with this, you'll be able to grow your practice in cross-hatching and get better day by day. So I'm going in right now with another layer of cross-hatching to increase my dark tone. So as I said earlier, don't bother about blending, just practice with this cross-hatching technique and see how confident you are when using it. If you are not confident enough to make long cross-hatching, you can break them into short cross-hatching strokes. That way it will be easier for you when you make shorter strokes instead of longer ones instead. So what you just do is just layer cross-hatching on each other to give that illusion of a good cross-hatching. You don't necessarily have to blend it as a beginner should. It's just for you to know how to work with this kind of cross-hatching technique. By the time you are able to practice this cross-hatching technique on a very simple and light paper that gives issue most times. Then when you get to have the opportunity to have this quality paper for drawing, your cross-hatching technique will be very easy for you. So I'm using a very simple printer paper here just to show this example of cross-hatching technique. So if you are getting any dark spots in between your cross-hatching technique, that is normal, because as a beginner you won't be perfect at your first try. So here I'll be adding another layer of cross hatching to give me a more darker shade. So now I'll be moving to the middle tone with a lighter cross hatching. You see the way I reduce the pressure on the paper is very light. It's not as dark as the previous cross hatching I did. So you have to learn how to control the pressure from your ends while shading. So this is my middle tone. This is the first layer of cross hatching. Then more layers will come upon this later on. While you are shading, don't forget to free your hand movement. Don't be too stiff on yourself so that your strokes can be neat and organized. So while making this shade, keep in mind that you are not adding too much pressure on the paper, as this is the middle tone of your cross hatching. And don't bother about blending. As I said earlier, we are just practicing how to use the cross hatching technique as beginners. So I'm coming in with my second layer of cross hatching, and I'm making my stroke shorter this time around to give me a more closer pen stroke. I'm going to fill this side of the calabash with medium tone to transition from the dark to medium to light and to the very light. I'm just bringing in my strokes from different directions as the name implies, so you don't have to be stiff to 2 or 3 directions. Bring your cross hatching from different direction, play around with it, see what you can come up with, see what works for you, and from there you develop yourself personally. That is how growth starts. So I'm going to add more cross-hatching layer to this particular section of the calabash to give it a more darker tone. And while you are shading, try to prevent making your pen stroke go into the very light area where the lights bounce on. Make sure your pen stroke don't go into that area, as it will not be easy to erase out, as it's not a pencil work. So while you are shading, keep in mind that where the lights bounce on the subject, that place has to be very light and pen stroke should be avoided in that area. So I'll continue my cross hatching, adding more layers to see what I can come up with. So as a beginner, you have to be free with yourself and practice with your cross hatching. You don't need to be specific or rigid on yourself. Just pick up your pen and cross hatch something, see what you can come up with. So now I'll be moving to the top of the calabash, starting from the darkest area where the light fall off the subject, and I'll be starting with short cross-hatching pen stroke technique before making it into a darker shade. Now I will make my stroke more harder by adding more pressure onto the paper. Now this is just a rough and simple practice video on how to learn how to practice your cross hatching. I don't want to make a very kind of lengthy video to avoid skipping most of the important parts, so I'm trying to make it quick and short so we can quickly catch up with this video and learn something. And while the video is going on, you are free to pick up your pen and practice together. That way you'll be able to learn easier and faster. Then I shade this area with a light cross-hatching technique where the light fall on the object, just like I did for the previous area in the calabash. So with this, cross-hatching should be easy for beginner to learn, that is if you are serious with it. And with time your stroke will be becoming more organized and more neat when you advance to that level. When you can cross-hatch confidently, then blending with cross-hatching won't be a problem at all, as far as you know how to layer your strokes to be well organized. Then it will be very easy for you to blend. That is why it's very good to know the multiple directions you are coming from so that your blending will be easier. So cross-hatching is just making just random strokes from different directions, and make sure your strokes are very organized. That way your drawing will look more neat. Now with this, you should be able to complete your cross-hatching practice without facing too much difficulty as a beginner. If you can practice this every day, at least 5 to 10 minutes every day, is a good sign of growth, and that way you'll be able to do more better than this. And before I finish this video, you are free to drop your opinion on other ways beginners can learn how to make their simple pen sketch for the first time with any shading technique that you know you are good at. So this is for the cross hatching. If you want to learn with the hatching, scribble and stippling technique, you are free to. This is just a representation of what the cross hatching looks like when you are beginning as a new artist trying to make cross hatching pen sketch for the first time. So with this, you should be able to grow beyond this stage when you make more practice. And here I'm going to add the shadow falling on the floor from the calabash. That is going to be the darkest shade in this sketch. And with good amount of practice, you'll be able to move from this particular free pen sketch cross action technique to this well detailed drawing. That is, if you are very consistent in your practice and you are diligent in what you are doing. Very soon you'll be able to make cool artworks that people will come to you to learn how you make yours. If you find this tutorial very helpful, give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more artistic adventures. Share your sketches and thoughts in the comment section. I will drop the link to my WhatsApp class so you all can join and share your progress. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial. Bye.